good will that? Oh my God! You and I just disagree.
Okay.
You and I just disagree. I understand that you think that you can control the behavior of people that are dead set on taking your way of life away from you. I think you can control that.
No, I didn't say
and
that.
there's only one thing you can do with that, and say, no, dude, that's not going to happen.
Kurt Russell doesn't need a script to bring common sense into a conversation. He does it naturally. In a time when Hollywood stars jump on every political trend, Russell stands apart, cutting through the noise with blunt honesty. When it comes to woke culture and the big debates of our time, he's not here to sugarcoat anything. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, Kurt's no-nonsense approach to these issues is something you'll want to keep seeing. Subscribing is like having front-row seats to the reality show that isn't afraid to tell the truth, something woke culture could definitely use. Russell starts by addressing a feeling most of us can relate to, being ambushed by people with an agenda.
You know, these are these things where, first of all, I was in a situation, we do what we call the dog and pony.
Right.
We're out doing the dog and pony selling a picture. And you get sometimes you get what you feel is slightly ambushed by somebody who's really got an agenda. And that's sort of, I think, that's my opinion of what happened to me the other day. The last thing I like to watch is entertainers or actors get political. It's just something I can't stand watching.
He recalls a situation where he was caught off guard during a press event, and it's clear he's not a fan of celebrities getting political. In his words, actors and entertainers should focus on their craft, not trying to shove political opinions down everyone's throats. It's refreshing to hear a celebrity admit that just because you have a platform doesn't mean you should use it for every cause that comes along. But let's be honest, sometimes you're forced to speak on these issues. And when it comes to hot topics like gun control and terrorism, Russell doesn't hold back.
If you think gun control or something like that is going to change a terrorist point of view, I think you're like out of your mind. I think anybody is. I think it's absolutely insane. The problem we're having right now is that we don't have the concepts of how to turn it around and say, you may think you've got me worried about what you're going to do. Dude, you're about to find out what I'm going to do. And that's going to worry you a lot more.
He quickly dismantles the idea that gun control could change a terrorist's mindset. If you think that's going to work, you're out of your mind, he says. Terrorists aren't concerned with laws, and thinking that regulations will stop them from causing harm is a dangerous misconception. Russell believes we need a mindset shift. Instead of worrying about what terrorists might do, we should focus on making them fear what we will do in response. It's a wake-up call to stop coddling the issue and get serious about handling threats. And speaking of gun control, the conversation often drifts into how to regulate guns to prevent tragedies. But Russell has a very practical outlook on that too.
The guys who are on the no-fly list because of terrorist connections, can get a gun pretty easily.
They can also make a bomb pretty easily.
Yeah.
So what? They can also get knives and stab you. What are you going to do about that? They can get cars and run you over with them. What are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about that?
They didn't kill the people in San Bernardino.
Oh, but they've killed others that way. Haven't they? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are you going to do? Outlaw everything? That isn't the answer.
Russell breaks down one of the key arguments surrounding gun control, specifically the idea that people on the no-fly list should be barred from getting firearms. He doesn't dismiss the concern, but he points out that taking away guns isn't going to stop terrorists. They can get knives, make bombs, or use cars to cause harm, he says. The point is, evil people will find ways to do evil things, and banning one tool isn't going to solve the underlying problem. Russell advocates for practical controls, but nothing extreme that ignores the broader issue. At the core of this debate is the Second Amendment, and Russell makes it clear that its importance is often misunderstood.
In reality, when we're dealing with things like terrorism and whatnot, we're all going to have different opinions on how to do it and how to deal with it.
Yeah.
Mine happens to be that I think there's a very strong reason Founding Fathers had for the Second Amendment, and that is that no government ever hasn't had to fight its own people, and its own people hasn't had to fight its own government. We had our Civil War. If that Second Amendment hadn't been there, those people would not have had the opportunity to do what they considered was defending their life, their way, their style of living. So I agree with that. I think that's an important part of our existence, and it's basically that simple.
For Russell, the Founding Fathers had a solid reason for including the Second Amendment. History has shown that people need to be able to defend themselves from governments and other threats. He explains that without the right to bear arms, Americans during the Civil War wouldn't have had the chance to defend their way of life. It's not about promoting violence, it's about safeguarding freedom. And while people might object to the misuse of guns, Russell argues that the principle behind the Second Amendment remains crucial. But let's not forget the real issue here, having civil conversations about complex topics. Russell wishes we could at least have that.
Well, that's where,
No,
and that's where the debate comes in.
that's what,
I think it's too bad
yeah.
that the debate can't remain kind of civil, too.
He laments how difficult it's become to have a respectful debate on issues like terrorism or gun control. Everyone has their own opinions, and that's fine, but the problem is that we can't seem to keep things civil anymore. Russell gets it, these are emotionally charged topics, but the constant shouting matches do nothing to actually solve the problems we're facing. At the end of the day, if we can't talk about these issues without it turning into a brawl, how are we ever going to find real solutions? And when someone believes they can change the behavior of people who are dead set on causing harm, Russell knows where he stands.
What good will that? Oh my God! You and I just disagree.
Okay.
You and I just disagree. I understand that you think that you can control the behavior of people that are dead set on taking your way of life away from you. I think you can control that.
No, I didn't say
and
that.
there's only one thing you can do with that, and say, no, dude, that's not going to happen.
Russell ends with a sharp dose of reality. Look, we just disagree, and that's fine. But if you think you can control people determined to take away your way of life, you're kidding yourself. He's not interested in bending over backward to accommodate those who want to cause destruction. Instead, his stance is clear. You stand your ground, and you make it clear that certain behaviors won't be tolerated. It's simple, but powerful. So there you have it, Kurt Russell, cutting through the woke nonsense with a level of common sense we don't see enough of these days. He's not interested in playing politics or dancing around the tough questions. For him, it's about protecting freedom, staying grounded in reality, and finding practical solutions that actually work. If you're tired of the same old talking points and ready for more no-nonsense takes, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And hey, while you're at it, like the video if you appreciate a refreshing dose of truth, and drop a comment below. Let us know what you think. Do you agree with Kurt's stance, or do you think we've gone too far? Let's keep the conversation going. You won't want to miss what's coming next.